You're listening to Erica Latrice on the air. Your one-stop shop for inspiration. Visit us online at www.ericalatrice.com. Embody the movement, empower your life. Now, here is your host, Erica.
Hey there, I am Erica Latrice, and I say all the time, my passion, my purpose is helping you to live yours. And this week's theme is all about getting things done, doing what you can do today, and maximizing what you have available to you. And so today I have quite a few keys for you, some action steps to help you get done today what can be done. And we're just going to go through each of these steps. I would encourage you to grab a notepad, grab a pen, or if you're just listening to this, replay it so that you can get the most out of today's show. So I'm going to be breaking down for you a few powerful keys that I've been able to use in my own life, that I've been able to see other people maximize. Some of the most successful people that you will read about have used these tools to get things done. And this is really about focusing. It's definitely a way that if you're finding yourself distracted, if you're finding yourself even in a place of like overwhelm, slightly stressed, or just not quite getting your to-do list checked off in the way that you expected, then today's show is for you. So let's jump in. The first thing that I would encourage you to do, this is something that I do all the time, and I have to stop myself sometimes when I find myself feeling like I'm just like running like a chicken with its head cut off. Like, what's going on? It's because I haven't written it out. So if you have anything, like I know we like to tell ourselves, I'll remember it or I'm thinking about it, but it will take less than 5 minutes for you to just take a moment typically and write out what needs to get done. And so I would encourage you to do a complete brain dump. And this is something very interesting. I was listening to an author that was talking about how he actually followed the success of those who had attended one of his events. And he found that the exercise that he would have them do, which is write out their goals, just write out what they want to get done. Even if they didn't revisit that sheet, usually about a year later, most everything that they had written out had been completed. Because it's almost like, and I'm not going to like make some false scientific claim, but it's like you put it in your mind. You, on a subconscious level, when you write these things out, it's no longer just scatterbrained and not quite sure if you're going to do it and all those things. It will pop back up. So again, number one, I would encourage you to write it out. Write out all of those things, not even trying to figure out how you're going to get it done, what time you're going to do any of that. Like literally just doing a brain dump of everything that you can think of that needs to get done. And we're going to go a little deeper into that. So that's number one, write it out. Number two, the second thing that you want to think about is what can you pass along? Some of these things that are on our list, again, we're going to go even deeper because I'm going to give you guys a 4-step formula to get rid of the stressful task in your life. But number two, what could you pass along? I will never forget hosting an event. It was my first nonprofit event that I was able to do recently, like a few years ago. But I had a mentor, and I was talking to her about the centerpieces, and I was so excited. Like, you know what? I had this idea for these centerpieces. I wasn't sure who I could delegate it to, and I didn't want to bother anyone. And so I just jumped in and started doing these centerpieces. And she was absolutely appalled at me doing these centerpieces, because her thought was, and it's something that still sticks with me, why would you be spending time stressed out working on something that someone else would have gladly taken off your plate so that you could have focused on other things that only you could do? And too often, this is not to say, because I think there's so much value in not having such a big ego that you think certain tasks are beneath you. But the truth is, when there are things that require a higher skill set, there is something that you are so equipped to do that the time you're spending doing something else that anyone could do if you could just tell them how to do it, you could be spending that time on those things that require your unique skill set. But you can't when you're inundated with all of these things that could easily be passed along. So number two, what could you pass along today? What is it that if you could just take a few minutes, write out the steps, or have someone else help you out, what can you pass along? And again, we're going to go a little deeper on that in just a second. So number three, what can get done quickly? What can you get done quickly? And this is something that I've heard it called like the 2-minute rule, making your bed, or just things that we continue to put off, when if we really thought about it, in less than a few minutes, we could just go ahead and knock it out. And I've seen this happen many of times where people have talked about organizing a closet or finally cleaning out their junk drawer and things that they thought would take days. And when they sit down and set a timer, come to find out it was like a 15-minute task. It just felt so overwhelming. So this is something that I like to do that could be a fun game for you. When I have certain tasks that I've kind of put off, or maybe I can, do them while listening to something, I will pick a song, upbeat, like a favorite song or something I want to hear, and I will give myself the extent of that song to get that task done. So if you have some clothes that you folded and you just have not put them up, or just any kind of small task that you can get done today, I would encourage you to make it fun. Time yourself, set a timer, play a song or something so that you can just go ahead and knock it out, because those tedious, undone tasks can affect you more than you realize. When you have so many things circulating in your head, like a sink full of dishes, or I don't know, dirt in your car, or things that just feel unfinished and you haven't done them, making that quick phone call to your credit card company, things that you could just knock out in a moment's notice, you want to knock them out as soon as you can. The fourth thing that I would like to remind you of today, when it comes to getting done what needs to get done, that will make a really big difference, is asking yourself, what will make the biggest difference? What is it that if you were to go ahead and do that today, it would be, I've heard it called the needle mover. Because too often we do spend our time on those tasks like the junk drawer or organizing the socks for the 180th time, when you know good and well you needed to be making that phone call or showing up on time to that meeting, or something else that would be much more needle moving than just sitting here and reorganizing for the 400th time this week. And so I want you to ask yourself, what will make the biggest difference? What's that thing that if you were to go ahead and complete it today, it would definitely pay off bigger in the future? Because those are the things that you want to get done first. In fact, I heard there was a book that I was reading, and I will never forget the author saying, doing the thing that you fear the most first. I've actually read this in several books, which is why I'm not citing it, but I would encourage you to read The One Thing, another book, The 1 Minute Millionaire, Multiple Income Streams. They all talk about this needle moving action. So you're not just waking up and saying what I'm going to do today, what I'm thinking about. You're actually taking action on the things that will make the biggest difference. Making that phone call that will actually make a difference. Maximizing the time with those who are most important. And this was actually in another book that I was reading. If you can't tell, I love to read. But in the book, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, he talks about counting your blessings over your stressing. And too often we put our things that we consider to be blessings on a pedestal in our head. We say, oh, I love my children. Family time matters. I appreciate where I live, or I appreciate my good health, and all of these things that we say we appreciate. But when we take inventory of our actions, they're not really lining up with the things that we say we appreciate. And so that is important as well when you're thinking about doing those things that will make the biggest difference down the line. If you're putting off spending time with your family, yet you're saying those are the most important people to you and that's what matters the most, that's equally as important when you're deciding which task will come first for you today, or which task, not necessarily first in a chronological order, but that you will put as a top priority. And so I would encourage you too, as you're thinking about what can be done today, because how you live today and tomorrow and the day after is how you're living your life. So you want to make sure that the actions that you're taking will make the biggest difference. Finally, number 5, actually, we're going to tackle a 4-step process that will sum all of this up to help you really make a big difference and start seeing results in your day-to-day action. So again, we're writing all this stuff out, number 1. Number 2, you're asking yourself, what can you pass along? Number 3, what can you get done quickly? And number 4, what's going to make the biggest difference? So now once you started to identify that, this is the 4-step way to identify and prioritize these things. Number 1, you're asking yourself, what is stressing me the most? That's number 5, actually. What is stressing me the most? If there is something right now that is weighing on you, and if there is something that's weighing on you, it's going to be hard for you to be effective at anything else because this thing is stressing you out. So ask yourself, what is actually causing you the most stress right now? The first thing that you want to do is ask yourself what can be done about it. If you need to just do, again, another brain dump, list off everything that you can think of, but you really want to know what can be done about it. What can you actually do about this thing that's stressing you out? Then the next question that you want to ask is, what can be delegated? So if you figured out what can be done about it, if it's within your ability to do it, then just do it. If it's something that can be delegated, you can get someone else to take some of these stressors off of your list, then delegate it. And then the next question that you want to ask is, what can be ignored? So when you're looking at this list of things that may be stressing you out, is it something that has to happen? Or if you just, in a sense, ignore it, is it something that will eventually not even be an issue anymore? Because sometimes there are things that we stress about, but we can't do anything about it. We cannot delegate it to anyone. We literally have no control of the outcome. The best you can do is pray about it and release it. But if you cannot do anything physically to address that problem, then you must let it go. And then finally, if there is something that can be done, what action can you take now? So asking yourself, what action can I take right now? Again, that action is just do it once you figured out the solution, or delegate it to someone else, or release it. Decide on the action that you're going to take. Because as long as you dwell on these stressors, it is going to literally suck you dry. It has the ability to suck you dry emotionally, mentally, and even physically, because it's so hard to take action when we're just overwhelmed by stressors, when we're overwhelmed by what isn't working out, when we're overwhelmed by unfinished tasks. So many things will keep you stuck, and you actually have within your ability to get things done today so that you don't have to stay stuck in this never-ending cycle of waiting for things to pan out. So that is my encouragement for you today. I'm going to do a quick recap, and then that is our show for today. So number one, write it out. Write out. Do a quick brain dump. Schedule some time with yourself to write out everything that's been on your mind to get done. Number two, what can you pass along? Start prioritizing those things. What can you do, and what can you delegate out to someone else? Number three, what can you get done quickly? Is there something that's sitting on that list that doesn't even deserve to be on the list because you could knock it out in 2 minutes or 5 minutes? Go ahead and get those things done so you can get rid of them. What will make the biggest difference? Identify those needle movers in your life. Identify those things that if you were to take that action, it would not only get off of your list, but it would be something that would make a difference down the line. Finally, ask yourself, what's causing you the most stress? And this is a 4-step process for dealing with those stressors. Ask yourself, what can you do about it? What can be done? What can be delegated? What can be ignored? And what can you take action on now? How can you take that action? So that is my show. That is my message for you guys today. Do today what can be done. And if this has encouraged you and you know that you're ready to get focused, you want to step out, you want to start seeing things take place, I would challenge you to go take the 21-day Focus Fast, and you can get that at thefocusfast.com. You will get daily messages along with my book, The Focus Fast, to help you every single day just focus, to help you stop being distracted and get things done. And by the time you finish, if you stay consistent with it, I promise you it will become such a habit that some of the things that you hesitate on right now will be a distant memory. So that is my show. I encourage you to stay connected with me across social media at Erica Empowers. If this encouraged you, share it with a friend. And as I'm always telling you guys, go out and make today amazing because it is absolutely a choice.
For more inspiration, visit us online at ericalatrice.com.